Good morning and welcome to my Tour Divide Day 4 update. Let's have a little look at the map and see what has been going on. So, if you've been looking at the past few videos, you would have seen that we had two guys up front, Justinus and Ulrich, and they've been really pushing Mike Hall's 2016 record pace. But we've been talking about, have they been going too hard? You know, are they going too hard too early? And lo and behold, they're getting caught. So Jens van Roost, he is closing the gap, and he's kind of been there or thereabouts. I mean, he's a relatively new name. I've done a little bit of digging. He's a good friend actually of Manu Catrus, who was second at last year's Tour Divide. I spent a lot of time with Manu, a couple of days riding with him on the race. So he's given me a little bit of intel about Jens, and yeah, he's a strong guy from Belgium. I mean, to be honest, most of the Belgian cyclists, it's in their blood, so they're all really super strong. But he's closed quite a significant gap. Now I'll start off with Justinus sent me a little update yesterday, so I'll just go back a little bit and just show you his update. So this would have been when he slept in Helena last night. So this would have been early in the morning, probably just after Lava Mountain, and let's see what he has to say.
Morning, you beautiful people. It is the morning of day 4, right? I'm on the way somewhere. No idea. I just take it as it comes. But beautiful morning it is. Night went well. Was a bit techy. Climb, trail, hike a bike, everything. Just to keep away.
So yeah, so that was Justinus. That'll be yesterday morning. So the guys are asleep at the moment at the front of the race, or just getting moving. Yeah, it's I mean, he looks pretty tired, but he also sent me another text. Obviously, I know Justinus relatively well, and he said he caught Ulrich sleeping at the top of Lava Mountain. Now, Lava Mountain, it's quite a long climb, and at the top it gets quite kind of it's like a really beat up 4-wheel drive track. I mean, like extreme 4-wheel driving, let's say, and it's the kind of track that could catch you out when you're tired on a bike. Apparently, it's quite muddy up there. And he said he found Ulrich. He got ahead of Ulrich, and you may notice if you've been watching the dots continually that Ulrich and Justinus have just been leapfrogging. And Justinus said that he caught Ulrich just sleeping at the side of the trail, and he said it was cold up there, it was wet up there, and Ulrich's packing super light. He doesn't have a sleeping bag with him. He's just got a silk blanket, a foil blanket. So I'm not surprised to see that they've slowed up. They've both been, well, I guess the impolite way is they've both been smashing the shit out of each other since the start, and now are we going to see that kind of that pace slow from them? And guys like Jens have just kind of ridden right up in there. So I have got a little audio update from Jens. So thanks to Manu for sorting this out for me. I won't play the whole lot because he goes on a bit, but it's really interesting. Now listen to how Justinus was in that video message, and now listen to Jens. Just listen to the difference in their voices, and well, I'll let you draw your own conclusions.
This is Jens, just a quick update from the trail. Oh man, it's such a nice addition. The weather's been great. Not too hot, and when it gets too hot we get a bit of rain as well.
Just a point on that, I find it quite amusing that most people are saying that the weather's been pretty bad, and then the guy from Belgium is saying it's good when it's raining. So that's what happens when you live in Northern Europe.
Just to cool things down. Oh, just riding along, letting the beautiful country pass us. It's a pretty neat ride. Anyway. I don't have so much to say. Like, I've just been having some good rests, sticking to my plan, sleeping at least 4 hours every night, and then in the daytime I ride a steady pace. Don't overdo it, because I'm not that king. And I just try to keep all the rest kind of efficient, and I have to say It's been pretty fun so far. Like I expected it to be more like a sufferfest, but that part hasn't started yet. It's just like my head is clear, the legs are good. It's just good at it.
Now I won't play the rest of it, but he did go on to say that his friends are going to take the piss out of him because he brought brand new kit, like Rafa kit, 7-mesh kit, all the fancy brands, nice Gore-Tex, shake-dry jacket, and then he crashed on the first night and ripped it all. So he's expecting his friends to give him a lot of stick when he gets home. But that sounds like a man who is very much in control of his body and his mind, and he said he's been sleeping almost 4 hours a night. And if we look at the race flow, you can see those sleeps. So Jens, good sleep there, solid sleep there, solid sleep the first night. I mean, we've got a new contender. We were talking about Justinus and Ulrich a lot, but the caveat has always been: are they going too hard, too early? So if we look at the race clock now, 3 days, 17 hours. I mean, it's even if they break the record, they've still got another 10 days to ride, and they've gone hard early. The gaps have really closed up. So yeah, it's all to play for. And then this little group, we're talking about Chris Burkhardt's still up there, Joe Nation, Tom Schwimberger, they're all there, and they're not that far back. They've been sleeping as well. So there's going to be a lot that's going to change in the next few days on the front of the race. So I'll leave it there for now on the front. Let's just have a little look and see what's happening further back. Just drop in on the women. So Lael, she's still riding steady and strong. I mean, Lael knows this course inside out. She's just coming into Butte. I imagine she'll have a good resupply there. Is she up on her record? I think she might be. I mean, that just goes to show... maybe not. I can't find her record dot at the moment. But yeah, she's doing a decent pace. I mean, she's probably still on like low 15-day pace at the moment. I think that just goes to show what the how the quality of riders is improving and the strength and depth of this race, that so many people are up at this kind of pace. A few years back that wouldn't have happened. So Lael's still up in the top 10 there. Ted King, again, he's the fastest guy on the course by a long way when it comes to average speed. If we just look at the run rest again, we have Ted, 12 mile an hour average moving speed. Everyone else is significantly lower. Joe Nation, second fastest guy, 11 miles an hour. Again, look at this, 76% run time though. The others are pushing it. Ulrich still the highest. He's still slept the least, and he was the fastest, did have the fastest moving speed out of the front guys, or the front 3 or 4, but now he's dropping down. Justinus is riding faster and resting more. Jens is riding faster and resting more. Joe Nation is riding faster and resting more. Even like Tom's riding faster. So it's not a done deal by a long way. I do wonder if they have gone too hard, too fast, too early, as we said before. Anyway, rambling on again about the front of the race. I said I wouldn't. So those guys are all around Butte. Lael's in there, solid top 10. And then I managed to miss Katja yesterday. She's second place in the women's race at the moment. I don't know an awful lot about her, but if you know anything, just feel free to drop a little message in the comments. And likewise, if there's anything specific you'd like to see, put it in the comments. Or if you have any questions, I'm probably going to do a Q&A separate video in a couple of days' time just to cover those. I'm being a bit overwhelmed with the amount of comments I'm getting at the moment and how many people are watching this, so thank you for that. I'll try and at least read everything and reply where I can. It's getting a bit mental, to be honest, which is great, beyond my expectations. Oh, there's Lael's record there. So Lael is way up on her record, so she's going to be under 15 days. She's going to be she's riding at 14 and a half or so day pace at the moment, which is so good considering some of the conditions. Bear in mind, she set that women's course record on an ITT, I think it was in August, so conditions are drier and faster then. And we also have, so in Helena, That's Sasha Dal. And you remember yesterday there was a bit of a group of women together. So yeah, it looks like it's spread out a little bit. April's still there. Marie's there, but she's moving up through the field pretty nicely. Alexandra Huchin, she's still up there. And then we've got another little cluster here, including Gail Brown. I've got a few updates I'll show you when I get onto the social media shortly. And we shall go into that in a second. And of course, the most important dot that everyone wants to know about, Amira the dog. She is currently she's coming into Whitefish. So I'll do another little update on the social media with those guys shortly. But first up, I'll just say thank you to Holyfat again for supporting this and making it happen. I won't bang on about them too much, but they do nut butters and like low carb but high fat energy bars, really good for these long, low endurance efforts. They've actually given me a little discount code that I can share with you, so I'll put that in the description below the video. So yeah, check out their website, and see what you think of that. So let's dive into the route a little bit. I've just been obviously talking about Lava Mountain and where everyone was riding yesterday. There's potentially some little curveballs coming up. So after Helena, we have Lava Mountain, as discussed. Can be quite techie. Actually, while we're talking about Lava Mountain, let's just find Joe Nation. Here we go. So this is Lava Mountain. As you can see, it's kind of like a washed out 4x4 course, 4x4 track. Quite a lot of tree roots and things, but it looks like it's been really wet. So Justina said it was quite wet up there. It's going to be quite tricky, and if you catch a root, especially when you're tired, especially when you're riding at night, you could have a crash. It's happened before. I'm sure it'll happen again. But it's not easy. But the guys who are good at technical stuff like Joe, I'm not surprised he's closed a big gap. So that's after Helena here, and then we go through Buttes, and there's this section here. It's quite, for me, this was like that you're getting higher and higher and just big rolling ranch country, and then you go across the main highway here, and then you get up onto Fleecer Ridge. Now Fleecer Ridge is one of the bits everyone gets kind of worked up about beforehand, and it's basically you're climbing up, and then there's just a sheer drop down the side of a ridge. So I've got a bit of a video from when I did it in 2019.
It's the bottom way down there.
You may notice I'm not riding it. I got halfway.
Oh god, that's steep.
It is rideable. It is very much rideable. So when I was there in 2019, Nate Gisburn, is it? I can't remember. Sorry, Nate, I can't remember his surname. He rode it. He was on a mountain bike. And he just dropped down, rode down it. And last year I got there with Manu Catrus. He used to race enduro and stuff. He just smashed it down there and left a massive roost down the bottom. Well, I plodded down. Those guys were both on mountain bikes. I was on a drop bar bike. To be honest, your weight is so far forward on a drop bar bike. You need to be on the drops to pull the brake levers enough because it's so steep. You need to control your speed. So on a drop bar bike, it's pretty hard to ride. It is rideable though. It's just a case of risk versus reward. I mean, do you walk for 10 minutes versus riding down and gaining 10 minutes and potentially crashing or puncturing, or do you just take it slowly? So that drops into Wise River. There is some resupply in Wise River. Myself and Manu shared the biggest pizza in the universe there last year in the bar. There's a shop. There's not much in there. And then you're basically on tarmac. You can see on Ryby GPS here, the solid red line is just tarmac. So this is my favourite tool ever, just the Google Map, man. And you can see it's just tarmac. See if my laptop can catch up. So you're just passing through the mountains, just getting higher and higher. It's pretty cool up there. So this would be the highest pass they would have gone over so far, 7,500 feet, so that was just over 2,000 meters. And then you've got a long steady road before you get to Bannock and the Bannock Road. Now we'll touch on Bannock Road in a second because that could be quite a major curveball, but first I'll just show you what that road looked like. So you're just in a big wide valley. So there is, you may have noticed it, both Ulrich and Justina stop down here. There is, I think it's Montana High Country Lodge. I can't remember the exact name, but that's in here. So that's actually where Mike Cool stayed on his record run. So you may have noticed Mike stopped on that same road. So Ulrich and Justina both stopped there, and that's where Jens seems to have closed up. So they're all the right side of the big pass there. So yeah, just it's kind of easy riding. There's always been a lot of wind coming out of Wise River, and then you get over the mountain and it kind of tends to be better. But yeah, Bannock Road, that can be a real curveball. This is notorious if it's wet for peanut butter. Peanut butter mud, it can just be horrendous. This can be like a 12-hour stop on this road here. So conditions have been wet. I've not seen much in the reports of ground conditions for this area. If it's wet, we could see the race turn upside down. You know, these guys are going to be stopping on there and they won't be able to move. Everything will be totally bunged up, and I'm pretty sure that the race will close up at the front. Let's see where they are. All the way down here. So yeah, into Bannock, you know, I'm sure this group, if they get stuck, these guys could catch them. If it's wet and then it dries out and they have to wait there, and the other guys can ride, again, it flips everything on its head. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Or it might just be dry or dryish and rideable, and then they'll get through. And then you've got this long pass here, I think it's Medicine Hat Pass. Long and steady. It's not steep. It's just like a long drag all the way up. And actually the descent feels like a longer drag than the climb. And then, yeah, there's not an awful lot of water and stuff. There's a lot of ranch ground, so the water, like the streams and stuff, I wouldn't necessarily trust because of obviously like the cattle. And then, yeah, you're on the road to Lima, and there's a good gas station there. Again, it's kind of set closing hours, but the pace these guys are going, they should be perfectly fine in terms of timing to get to Lima. So yeah, so that is a little update on the route. Let's have a little bit of a look at stories. We'll start with the guys up front. We touched on Joe, obviously. He was on Lava Mountain yesterday. He's on the Great Tour Divide diet. A nice gas station burger for probably like mid-morning. Sounds disgusting. Again, see Lava Mountain. It's just like rocks and roots and things like that. And that's the classic. You go into a gas station and you buy loads of stuff and realise you spent $45, $50 and you don't even think about it. Tour Divide is an expensive game. When you're hungry, you just buy whatever and you don't think about the money. So, yeah, it's it can add up. So yeah, that's Joe. There was some nice, an update from Ulrich.
Our conditions are worse this year. Now it goes up there. Lisa Ridge. Have some snow there.
Yeah, so he looks like he's suffering, man. If you listen, remember listening to our audio clip from Jens, and then Justinus and Ulrich. They sound like they're not overly happy. There's a lot of mud out on course. To be honest, it just makes it even more fair play to these guys. They are really pushing. And just remember when Mike set the record in 2016, it was totally perfect conditions. Like, you can get better conditions. I've heard it from a number of people who were in that event. But these guys, just riding on those wet roads, it does take it out of you. Right, on to the important updates now. So we saw Mira's Dot, Mira the dog, of course, riding the Tour Divide with her owner John. So she's not having it easy either.
All right, well, I think day one, all the in and out of the basket, well, mostly the out of the basket for Mira was a bit tough. So her front leg joints are a little tender. Paws are good, so there's no external damage, but yeah, paws are a little, or the joints are a little tender, so I'm carrying her in the basket up the climbs. So that's much slower and much harder, but I think in a day or two she'll be back to her normal, and yeah, we'll be able just to keep on riding. So yeah, definitely slower and harder, but that's the main priority, is that Mira is in good shape. So no matter how long it takes to ride there, it's definitely slower.
So there you go. Mira's having a hard time too. It must be hard work. I mean, when you think about it, jumping in and out, you know, of a basket on the back of a bike multiple times is going to be it's going to take its toll on your joints. You know, dogs and other animals. You know, if we get sore knees and stuff when we ride bikes for a long time, you know, it's that repetitive strain. You know, they're going to get the same. So yeah, she's chilling out for a bit. I'd imagine. I mean, a lot of the harder climbs are in the northern part of the route, so they're kind of banging it at the moment, especially if the ground conditions are wet. So hopefully it'll get easier for them as they get further down. And yeah, so they're doing well. Another shout out. So I got a message on Instagram. So Patrick Sista just found his dot. So he's currently heading out towards, where is he? Richmond Peak by the looks of it. So Patrick, he is riding the Tour Divide, and he's actually trying to raise money. So his son, Antoine, he's at home, and basically Antoine has Friedrich's ataxia. So it's basically it's kind of a condition which you know, it affects your mobility and things, and movement. So basically his dad, he's out there doing these rides, and he's trying to raise money for charities that help this. So for every kilometer he rides, he's trying to raise €1. So I think there's a link on there to donate if that's the kind of thing you want to do and help a good cause. Let's have a little look and see what's going on. So this is Coco Claims back in Canada. The big old hiker bike we talked about in the first couple of days. You can see how savage it is. Although there's been quite a few riders up there, so there's a bit of a path now, but yeah, that's what you've got to deal with. That is Coco Claims. So yeah, big shout out to Patrick and Antoine, and yeah, keep on going and doing great work there. Then the other story I've got, because I do realise I am rambling on a little bit, there's a hell of a lot to talk about in this Tour Divide. So I'll finish off, certainly in the UK, Gail Brown is a big favourite. So this is Canada, just such a cool place. But it looks like she's suffering with a bit of a chest infection, so just plodding on. And anyone who knows Gail, we all know that she's the queen of snacks. Gail does not run out of food on bikepacking races, so yeah, she's always well fueled. So I'd expect to see her come good right at the end there. So yeah, plenty more to cover, but I'm running out of time. I realise you don't want to spend all day listening to me. As I said, thank you so much for watching this and supporting it. If you've got any questions or anything, put them in the comments. If there's anything specific you'd like me to cover, drop that in the comments. I'll do my very best to try and cover everything. I was going to talk about northbound riders, but I realise I'm banging on again, so I'll try and cover northbound tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for day 5